to all our press partners from around the Asia-Pacific region. We are here today to celebrate the soon-to-be-released film from Marvel Studios, Avengers: Infinity War. Now, a few notes before we get started. For anyone on Facebook, feel free to stream live, but please, absolutely no flash photography, okay, during the conference from anyone. There will be a photo call just after our Q&A session, in which you can take photos with a flash. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Now, as many of you already know, this film is an unprecedented cinematic journey, 10 years in the making, that spans the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel Studios' Avengers: Infinity War brings to the screen the ultimate and deadliest showdown of all time. Now, the Avengers and their superhero allies must be willing to sacrifice all in an attempt to defeat the powerful Thanos before his blitz of devastation and ruin puts an end to the universe. And now, without further delay, please welcome to the stage Executive Producer Trin Tran. Next up, Director Joe Russo. And now, let's put our hands together to welcome the very beautiful Karen Gillan. Next up, the talented Benedict Cumberbatch. And now, the moment that we have all been waiting for. Let's put our hands together to welcome the one and only Robert Downey Jr. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Marina Bay Sands in sunny Singapore. Now, we're absolutely thrilled, of course, to have all of you here today to talk about this incredible film, Avengers: Infinity War. Now, I would like to kick things off with a question for Mr. Robert Downey Jr. How does it feel to be back on the set of Avengers, knowing that this is probably going to be the biggest film of all time?
Well, first of all, hi. Good late morning to you. I mean, I think you'll hear from all of us as we go along. Like, we might be making the movies, but we're also fans, and we're also critics of our own work, and always wanted to try to make it better. But I think this time we might have nailed it.
Thank you very much, Robert. Next, I have a question for Benedict. How does it feel to be part of a production 10 years in the making?
Good morning, Singapore. It feels a little intimidating, to be frank, when you first step onto a set filled with a roster of iconic characters as well as iconic actors, and then you go about doing a day's work and forget about the numbers of 18+ films and $14+ billion and all the rest of it. And all this machinery, all this success leads to a point where you're on set with two of the most talented directors, an extraordinary cast and crew, and you're playing. You're just free to plus it, to get it better, to keep working it, and be free to enjoy and play. So yeah, it was good fun.
Thank you, Benedict. Thank you. Karen, how does it feel to be one of the rare villains to survive from movie to movie?
I'm honored. It's very exciting to get to be in more than one Marvel movie. Yeah, I mean, I love this character because, you know, initially she was a villain, and then we kind of learned more about her backstory, and then we started to question whether she really was a villain or not. I'm just looking at this, and this is the best. This is the weirdest sensation in the world.
Those are for sale. You can buy one later.
Just a shameless plug. But no, I love playing this character. I can't believe I get to do it in multiple movies. It's very exciting.
Thank you, Karen. And now, Joe. Welcome back to Singapore, Joe.
Thank you.
Now, we saw you the last time when you were here to promote Captain America Civil War with Team Cap. How does it feel to be back with Team Iron Man this time around?
It feels awesome. support Team Iron Man. That's not that wrong. Honestly, I was supporting Team Iron Man all along. I was here with Team Cap. This is a favorite of Chris, but no. But it's great to be back. Absolutely love Singapore. Fans are the best here in the world, and we're all very happy to be here. So thank you.
Oh, we are thrilled to have all of you here. Last one, Trin. If you could have the power of any of the Avengers, who would it be and why?
No pressure.
Oh wow, that's a tough one. Oh. You know, the world hasn't...
I'm sorry, I have to get that.
The world hasn't seen her yet, but I have to say Captain Marvel. Because she's, you know, she has super strength, she has super speed, and she can fly. Who doesn't want to fly, right? And I think most importantly, she's a strong character and a leader, and I think everybody can, you know, really look up to her, especially little girls.
Awesome. Once again, it's a thrill to have all of you here today. Thank you so much for coming to Singapore. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard a little bit about these talented people and this incredible film. Now we open the floor to you guys and your questions. Should you have a question or questions for any of our wonderful guests today, please raise your hand and we will certainly have a microphone brought to you. Okay? All right. Wow. Lights are really bright. Let's start off with...
Could we turn the lights a little brighter on us? I want to go fully blind.
I don't want to see anyone in this room but light.
This is what it was like for people. It's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That's what it's like. Yeah, I love it.
Staring at an
I'm assuming
eclipse.
there's a big group out there, but I can't see.
There's the person.
Hello? Hello?
A silhouette.
We can hear you.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Jabba
There
from
we go.
Australia. Hello.
Good day.
How are you? So I brought a small Thor hammer. I brought the thunder from down under. Firstly, on behalf of cinema goers right the way around the world, thank you for the last 10 years of cinematic joy. It's been incredible watching all of you guys. Everyone that's touched a Marvel film, the thousands of people who have worked on it. It's been an incredible 10 years. Congratulations on the brand new film that looks like the last superhero movie that needs to be made apart from Captain Marvel. I wanted to take it back, if that's all right, and ask Robert Downey Jr. and Karen, hello again, and Benedict, about casting. Robert, if you cast your mind back to when they first came to you and said, hey, do you want to be Iron Man? The cinematic landscape of superhero films didn't exist in the way that it does now. It feels like that was a pretty big risk back then. And can you other guys speak to that, Benedict and Karen, about how that felt when you were asked to be cast, about how being a superhero is a pretty key moment in your career now, whereas for you, Robert, maybe it was a really, really huge risk? Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I needed a job. Bad. And I really believed in Favreau and Feige and just that. I believed in Marvel Comics. And it was at a time when DC was really, even from my perspective, I was like, well, we'll do ours and we'll give them some counter programming for the DC movies, which are supposedly the cool ones. So, but you never know. It's always weird when you're part of anything even mildly historical because you lose perspective on it. And but it has been amazing to just get caught up in it. And I think the two things they've done very well is casting of the actors and casting of the directors.
Well, for me, I just got a phone call from my agent asking me if I'm willing to shave my head. And I said, what for? And they said, Marvel. And I was like, yeah. I mean, that was a pretty easy one. And then I did like multiple auditions and a screen test. And then when I got the role, I was just completely over the moon. I mean, Marvel was already such a huge thing by that point. And I was just so excited to play this villainous, fun, creepy, weird character. Yeah, I was just so excited.
I mean, even though I was very late to the party, I was enthralled to it like you were, just caught up in the fandom of it and being an ardent lover of it in the cinema. And there was sort of vague discussions. A journalist said, oh, you make a great Doctor Strange. So it was sort of weirdly somewhere in the back of my head. The real ticket winner for me was the humour. I knew it had to be, this is a strange character by name and nature, and what is his place, what's his need in the world now? And actually, funny enough, who would have thunk it? You know, the idea that the brain has the power to help ease your way, that you can change your world with thought and access something other than our reality. is a new direction for Marvel to go in, and it's weird and wonderful, and yet I wanted to somehow go around it and make him human and funny. So it was a challenge, and I was really enthralled to that. It had to be different because everything that had come before was so damn good, and when they presented to me the pitch of it, I thought, yeah, how can I not? I can have a lot of fun doing this.
Thank you guys. Cheers.
Guys?
Captain America gave Tony Stark at the end of Civil War. So if you're a Marvel fan, you may remember this. And so Tony's been carrying that phone. Ouch.
Wait, did no one see Civil War?
And actually, the hardest person to get a hold of these three.
Just be honest. Try honesty.
No, I'm trying to think who's difficult. I mean,
He can get
I don't know. I don't think I have Benedict's number, so I would say he's probably not going to get a hold of me.
This is me honest. If you don't have my number, I think that's me on top.
Benedict doesn't have a phone.
I don't know.
No, so it's very difficult to get a hold of.
I'm giving you my flip phone number.
Can we wave at this girl? Ashley, can you say hi to Ashley?
Hi, Ashley. But by the way, if you did see the footage last night, Thanos demands your silence. Please, no spoilers.
Right. This lady over here, right in front.
Oh man, I didn't think I was going to get picked. I'm really nervous. Hi everyone! I am such a huge fan. I just want to say first and foremost, thank you for the past 10 years. The MCU has changed my life and it has helped me go through lots of bouts of anxiety. So thank you guys. Especially you, Mr. Stark. I love you. Okay, so my question is, this really feels like the culmination of the past 10 years, right? How is this going to affect the rest of the movies that are coming out after Infinity War? Thank you.
There are no movies coming out. That's it. This is the ending.
He's right, that's true.
That's
it, this is your back.
You just said you were insane. Should we be answering your questions?
Yes,
I should.
You should. We
You're
get
right,
it.
I definitely should.
That's it. Thank you.
To give you a little more context, that is look, Marvel.
Hold on a minute. By the way, he was the last one to show up backstage. All right, let me tell you how this went. I was there, then Karen showed up, then Benedict frolicked in, and then he traipsed in.
After a year waiting around on set, I said, "You tell me when they get there." But no, if Marvel's been writing a book for the last 10 years with these movies, Infinity War is the final chapter of that book, and then there'll be a new book written, and that'll be the next phase of Marvel.
I want to say, too, there should be two other figures here. There should be the Trin Tran action figure and the Joe Russo action figure. But literally shooting for a year, most of us have gone on to other projects or had a rest or been traveling or found, I don't know, new boyfriends or stuff. Anyway, and they have been locked in an editing bay like they're in a cavernous, abandoned ship together. So thank you.
Yes,
This is why the light is so bright right now, because we haven't been out.
It's a vitamin D lamp.
Stops you from getting rickets. It's true though, they're the ones with superpowers, them and the extraordinary, line producers who organise our schedules. It is an impossibility, and that in itself is a small miracle, don't you think, Tansel?
Very true, yes. I mean,
they're doing what we did.
logistically, without question, I think the most complicated would be in history to put together. I think we shut down Hollywood for a year because we had every actor working in the business scheduled somewhere in the movie, so it's true.
All right, from today onwards here in Singapore, we declare Trin and Joe superheroes.
Yeah! You heard it here first.
Okay, let's see. Daniel?
How's it going? Daniel Hoffman from Line 3 down in Singapore.
Can I just say, as a comic book nerd that ran to the comic book store every Tuesday, it was a dream to sit in a room and to actually talk about comic books with other people. It's bizarre. One day I'll have a wife who does that with me. In the meantime, though, I've got to ask about Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch's characters. Doctor Strange sees himself as a protector of the realm and of Earth. Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark as a futurist who, in a way, predicted the onset. Do we see a clash in terms of A-type personalities who are trying to say, hey, I got this, you take a step back, I'm in charge?
No.
Get your hand off me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the clash of the egotistical, sort of vainglorious goatees, definitely. You know, there's a lot of grown-up in the room.
Dueling goatees.
Goatees, goatee to goatee. What's that?
The facial hair bros make an appearance?
If that's what we are, we do make an appearance in this movie, yes. Is that what we are? Facial hair bros, that's what we are.
It's a term in the comics now.
So yeah, no, yeah, we kind of we have a bit of a clash, and that's no bad thing, and that's something to enjoy in the film without spoiling anything, is to see how that relationship unfolds. Right?
Yeah, and I should have known this just by watching it, but being a big fan of the Doctor Strange standalone too, if you think about it logically, if you want to, with superhero movies, you know, Strange is the guy who actually can, if he has the wherewithal to do it, he's the one who can run through all the outcomes and actually figure out what the most likely scenario is going to be. And I think once Tony recognizes that, that's something that, even though he thinks it might be within his control, ultimately there's a spiritual solution. And if someone has the ability to have that kind of intuition, you can only stay at odds with them for so long.
Yeah, for someone who's a brilliant industrialist, materialist, somebody whose logic and science works through the medium of technology as opposed to mind going into the Eastern mysticism, sort of the holding of understanding of the cosmos and the multiverse. You would think there was not much of a Venn diagram, but there is. There completely is, of course, and yeah, you just described it.
I can't wait to see. Thank you guys. Terry, Bulgarian's t-shirt. Yeah.
Nice t-shirt, Daniel. Liv.
Hi guys, I'm Liv from Fox Movies. So good to have you guys all here. Can't wait for the red carpet tomorrow. No spoilers, but is there a scene where we get to see all of you in one room having this epic battle, or is it just you with suits on, dots on your face, all CGI? And are you going to miss being together, of course?
Yes to that last one. Yeah, it's been a riot. It's been great fun. In this film, who's to say there won't be more?
I read that in some magazine that the #1 voted moment was the airport fight in Civil War, because so many of the superheroes, and now that the universe has expanded even more, but I think one thing that the creatives always don't want to do is do a bigger repeat of something that's already worked well. So without giving anything away, I think that the challenge this time was how do you top or better or expand something without repeating something that's already been executed well before. It's kind of like, I call it, it's the anti-process. Usually if something works, we're just going to keep doing that.
Right. Yeah, no, you have to be innovative with each of these films, because there are 20 of them. So I think what's unique about this movie, and if you've been a fan of the Marvel Universe the last decade, this is the first time you will get to see all of these characters, all of the Marvel characters together in one movie, and that was our approach when we were working on the film. We knew that we had, and there's no reference to Doctor Strange, but we used to say in the writers' room we called it strange alchemy, where we would put together, and by that I mean unique alchemy or unique chemistry between the characters. We would take characters from different franchises who have never been in the same room before and put them together to create combustible relationships. So I think this is sort of the, this is a culmination event. Can't speak to whether you see them all together or not, but you certainly get to see a lot of them.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. That lady at the back? All right. Yeah, that lady.
Hi everyone. Neela from Australia. Robert, Tony Stark initially wasn't wanted in the Avengers. He was volatile, self-obsessed, didn't play well with others. Obviously, we've seen him change through all these movies. How do you think being a part of this universe, part of this family, has changed you?
I think I understood the question. What was that last part?
Tony Stark has changed.
Oh, yeah.
Team. How has being part of this changed you?
Right. Well, I mean, look. Sometimes you try to follow that little golden thread of where all of these projects and creatives are coming together, and kind of what the bigger ball of string is, and being one of the first people on the field, I always feel that part of my job is to just adjust and say, well, that's where it seems like things want to go. So I think that my arc should correspond to it. But a lot of it is just going from when I started this, I was in my 40s. Now I'm in my 50s, and so I think even if you just look at the difference between being quote unquote young and then looking at middle age, you know, your values tend to change, and so I think Tony's mirroring that a little bit. I hope.
Lady here.
It's a tough job picking the next person, isn't it? But you manage it very well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for choosing me. And guys, it's so great to see you here. Like it's such a big dream to see you guys in person. I'm a little bit nervous, but so in the closing credits, Pepper and Tony got engaged, and Tony has a new suit. Is there a possibility of a wedding suit Iron Man?
That's a great idea. I don't have any spoilers, but what happens is Nebula comes between us, and it winds up being kind of a European thing.
Thank you.
I think I need more sleep.
The gentleman over there. Yeah.
Hello, hi Robert, hi Benedict, I'm from India. My name is Ashish. Can we all just appreciate the fact that we just not have Iron Man and Doctor Strange, we have two Sherlock Holmes sitting together? My question is for Robert.
I'm always reminded.
I'm sure you guys must be tired of these fan demands from you asking if there's a Sherlock joke in the movie.
If there ever was, I hope there isn't.
There's you guys in the office?
Yes.
We take all jokes. You got any good jokes, send them a joke. We'll put them in some movie somewhere.
And from the entire fans from the world. And I'm not speaking from the media perspective. I'm a huge fan of you guys. I've been following since like childhood. I love Marvel. Marvel has been my life. I just want to ask, are you guys missing Hawkeye from the trailer? Where is he, Joe?
You know, it's crazy. There were so many characters we were dealing with that, you know, and we were halfway through shooting, and I think you said, "Where's Renner?" And we went, "Oh my God!"
It's like, oh, he's Macaulay Culkin.
No, listen. We did not forget the twice nominated Jeremy Renner from. And I'm talking about Oscar nominations from Infinity War. We have two movies we're working with, Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. There's a lot of story real estate. I think last week we released 22 character posters. There's only so many people you can put in one film. And we have a really interesting story cooked up for Hawkeye. But I would say that patience is a virtue, and it's a long play, not a short play. So we did not forget Hawkeye.
Last question for Robert. Robert, which is your favorite MCU movie apart from the Iron Man movies? Which is your most you've watched on repeat?
Sherlock. No. I don't. You know the funny thing, honestly, is as they come out, it's not like I don't feel that I have all that much to do with these other ventures, but I just appreciate aspects of them so much. I think I think Doctor Strange changed. I think without Doctor Strange, we wouldn't be able to have Infinity War, most definitely. And I think that the Guardians was just such a dark horse, and so that. But I gotta say, recently, I thought that Thor Ragnarok was so mind-blowing. This Taika Waititi guy, to me, is just, he's an assassin. He's so brilliant. So, you know, and then by the time I'm done seeing this will probably be my favorite.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, everyone. India loves you very much. Marvel.
All right, last question. Genevieve, Channel News Asia.
Hello, hi, this is Genevieve from Channel News Asia. I actually want to ask you a question. This is a very male-dominated industry, and you are a woman and an executive producer, which is amazing, especially for superhero movies. Can you talk about how hard it was to rise up the ranks and be part of such an amazing franchise?
Well, I've actually been at Marvel for quite a long time, and I started as an assistant there 10 years ago, and they, you know, Marvel has been a family to me, and they were very supportive and just bringing me up and allowing me to grow in the position that I am in now. And I think it's very important to have like female voices in the film industry, you know, especially nowadays. And with like the large amount of cast that we have, and you know, some of which are very strong female characters, I think it's just important for everybody just to, you know, like just allow female voices to shine in this area. And I've been very fortunate to be able to work with Marvel for so long, and they've allowed me to grow into the position that I am in now.
Thank you, Trin. One last question for Indonesia.
It's not going to get any better than that.
Hey, hi everyone, my name is Joe, I'm from Indonesia. And my question is a little bit serious actually. So the Indonesian censorship organization, there's a rumor going around that they're going to censor 7 minutes of the movie. There's a rumor going around. I know you guys wouldn't like that because, you know, it's your work of art. But if you had to censor 7 minutes, would you? Or which part would you take out? And would you, if you couldn't change this rule, do you want to take part in the decision that the censorship organization makes for the 7 minutes that they're going to cut?
Boy, this sounds like a producer question if I ever heard one.
Yes. Would you take out all the Iron Man scenes, like for example? I'm kidding.
Robert, you had a very eloquent answer to this last night when we were discussing this very issue.
What it is?
This is a, I can't imagine what 7 minutes they would cut out of the movie, but it's the first we're hearing of it, so we'll take it back. But yes, of course, as an artist, you don't want anybody censoring anything or taking anything out of the film. This is a PG-13 movie. It's not like it's some radical piece of content. So you know, I'm a little shocked.
Calm down, Joe. We want to make it to the airport here.
That's right. But you know, that's a hard question to answer. Trin, you got an answer for it?
I guess all of Tony Stark's scenes will be cut. There's no.
I'll take the hit.
Is this a Robert Downey thing?
Believe me, no shortage of screen time for me. But I'm going to give you those 7 minutes right now.
Thank you so much for your question, and thank you so much, Trin. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you.
And now I'd like to invite you guys backstage to chill out for a little bit while we prepare the stage for the photo call. All right? Once again, please